good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4. Sorry for the delay. It's all, you can blame it all on me. It's all my fault. I'm Gav, and with you this week I have Grace, I have Marty, and I have Ian. They're all going to show up on the screen just now. Right, let's get into it. Grace, I'm going to come to you first. A 1-1 draw away to Chelsea. I've put the title as "Does it feel like a win?" Just your initial thoughts on it, Grace. What do you make of it?
Definitely feels like a win the way it panned out. The way I look at it is, if you offered us 4 points from Chelsea away and Spurs away, we would have definitely taken that. General feeling was at the end elation, as it always is. A late goal always sort of just feels great, doesn't it? Whether it's a point or whether it's 3 points. But yeah, I mean, it would have been harsh, very harsh on us if we didn't get something out of that game. So yeah, really happy with that at the end. Very happy.
Okay. Just one thing before we keep going. You'll see OBS Studio chat up on the window there. It's not working. So I'll keep an eye on the chat as we go along. All right. Ian, your initial thoughts away to Chelsea, 1-1 draw, late goal. A very entertaining game in my eyes. But how did you feel coming away from
it? Good, mate. You always do when you score a late equaliser, don't you? You kind of preparing yourself for a defeat, aren't you? And even though you know you can't carry on being undefeated all season, unlikely anyway, you kind of don't want to give your record up, especially don't want to give it up against one of your rivals, do you know what I mean? And I thought it was a really good game, mate, to be honest. Two really nice sides. I'm a big fan of Sarri anyway. I was at Napoli and stuff like that. I just think the reason why I'm more positive, apart from the fact that we got the screaming of an equaliser, you know, you'd always go a bit nuts anyway. But the reason why I'm more positive is because I think that's Chelsea at their absolute best, and I think they're going to drop off. Maybe not to the point where they'll go down the league 6th, 7th, but I think their level will drop a bit. And I don't think we're anywhere near our level at the moment. Our front three are really off the pace at the minute. So we've played them at their ground. It was 1-1. I think if we were a bit more on it up front, we'd have come away with the 3 points. So that's the main reason I'm really positive, is I think we're going to improve, and I don't think they can improve. So all in all, not bad, mate.
Yeah. I'm a bit the same. I don't know if they can't get any better. I'm not too sure on that one. I think they've been really, really good. And I think they showed their qualities partly on Wednesday night and partly yesterday. But look, we'll all see how it goes as things go on, I suppose. Marty, I'll let you in. Initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as a football fan, you know, it's refreshing just to see two top sides going toe-to-toe, and both wanted to win the game from the first minute to the 90th minute. It's just, as a Liverpool fan, it's so nice to be part of that discussion, you know, about, you know, a really great team in a great game. I thought we were excellent. I thought we deserved to win. I would have taken a point before we kicked off, to be honest. It's going to be a difficult place for anyone to go to. But just, yeah, delighted. Thought the goal was brilliant. Thought we played brilliant. I thought, you know, the only thing we were really lacking in was our front three. I saw a few people criticising midfield, which confused me a little bit. I thought the midfield were more than brilliant. I thought the defence and Alisson were fantastic. It just kind of echoed what the guy said, really. You know, you probably say there's so much more to come from us. So absolutely delighted with it.
Yeah. I suppose, like, you know, when you look at the game, you're going into it and you're thinking, okay, another 3 points here is massive. A draw isn't too bad. It keeps us, you know, even there with Chelsea and City, going into City next week. But a win would have been huge. But I was interested to see what you thought, because, you know, we go into that game, I suppose we're trying to make another statement, I suppose. But like, I looked again, and last season was it 1 point away from all these teams playing away from home to them, whereas this season already it's 4 points. It's still unbeaten, I suppose. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's get on to the lineups, I suppose. Grace, I'll come to you first. Any surprises there for you? Is there anything different you would have done?
No, not really. Look, it's fairly obvious that at the moment Klopp trusts this trio midfielders in the big games more than others, and it's understandable. They all know their roles to a T. Obviously, the big clamour is to sort of Fabinho and Keita to start more games than not, and eventually that will be the case. But I mean, as shown in the PSG game, Klopp will go, especially with teams that he thinks may have more or as equal possession as us, and who will attack us. And he may not have played this midfield if this was the Conte Chelsea, but he knows Sarri, similar to sort of Pep, only knows one way how to play, and he thought this midfield, this setup will be the best way to sort of gegenpress them. As Marty said, I didn't think the midfield. I mean, individually the performances could have been better, but as a unit, I didn't think they were too bad in terms of what the game plan was, which was to sort of win the ball high up, press the likes of Jorginho, and and win the ball and sort of quick transitions. So from that point of view, the selection was quite obvious. Obviously, there was the scare with the VVD injury, but once that was established, that was fine. I think the team picked itself. Maybe there was the odd Otto saying rest Mo, but that was never going to happen. So yeah, the team kind of picked itself, I think, in my opinion, anyway.
Ian, any advances on that? Was there anything you would have liked to see different? We'll get onto it later about how the squad kind of showed its value as the game went on. But is there any way you would have changed or started slightly differently? And do you think our lineup with that, I suppose, with that midfield three, gave Chelsea the initiative a little bit?
I think with our attack and our defence picks itself. So it's always about the midfield. At the moment, he doesn't think Fabinho's ready, and he must think the same about Keita at the moment. So I think if you look at individually, their midfield three on paper is probably better than our midfield three on paper. But our midfield is more about, is greater than the sum of its parts, if you know what I mean. They work very well together, they complement each other, and like Grace just said there, Klopp really does trust them. So whereas Keita is clearly a more talented footballer than Jordan Henderson, he just mightn't be suitable at the moment for these type of games, or at least in Klopp's opinion, he's not suitable. He come on, he looked a lot live. He offers a lot more going forward than Henderson, but he mightn't be as disciplined going backwards as Henderson as well. So do you know what I mean? They've all got the qualities, they've all got the strengths. You get the usual dickheads saying, stuff about Henderson and all this type of stuff. But I thought the midfield three were really good. I thought Gini was outstanding, to be honest. He's looking really, really fit as well. He's getting stronger. He's running with the ball well. I think he could use the ball a bit better, passing wise. But I don't really think that's his game. But
do you know?
No, I mean, I was happy with it. Like I say, the front three and the back four or back five, they pick themselves. So it's always going to be, is Keita starting? Is Fabinho ready to start? Do you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. So I'm never disappointed with any three he goes with. I think at the moment, Keita's more suited to playing at home than he is away at the moment.
Okay. Marty, the one on Keita is probably the one where I was looking at before the game thinking, does he come in for... It will probably be Henderson for me because I'm a big fan of Wijnaldum at the deepest line midfielder, and I don't think you can drop Milner. It's probably Keita the one for me that may have got a chance, but he's not had... I'm not saying he has had a bad start. He's had an average sort of start to his Liverpool career. Although, is that something that you would have liked to see to kind of show Chelsea we're here to win and we're gonna come out and attack you?
No, not really. I think that front three at the moment is our best front three that know Klopp's methods the most. They've played under Klopp for a season plus. They know how he works. They've got the fitness and the stamina. I think for me, and I've said it to a couple of people, Naby Keita, when you see him on the board in that touch and pass against Palace away, some of the passes he's done in the first game. On the ball and technically, you can see he's fantastic. However, there's been a few games where I just think he's looked quite leggy and he's not been tracking back. And there's been a few times where they've been opposition teams have been getting in behind, whereas necessarily they don't with Henderson, Wijnaldum and Milner. So I think as much as Fabinho, they're only, 2 months into their Liverpool career. It's going to take a long time for them to properly understand the Klopp way, the way he plays, get that fitness up. And there's no rush. They're doing a good job. Ignore the people on Twitter. They don't matter. You look at Jurgen Klopp. We're unbeaten in the league, so they can't be doing a bad job. So for as long as it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. And there will be a time when Kate is up to speed, Fabinho is up to speed, and when they're ready, they will come in and they will be amazing. But there's no need to chop it and change it just because of the names on paper. The three at the moment are our best three midfielders under Jurgen Klopp. It's simple for me.
Okay, let's get into the game, I suppose. Excuse me. The first half, I thought the first half was extreme quality of football between both teams. I think they were trying to, suss each other out, but at the same time look threatening all the time. We have our chances. They have one or two. Salah for me looked very dangerous, although he's probably a millisecond off. He's so close to being where he was, and it's just like we hear it all the time, waiting for it to click. I thought he was good. I thought he looked the most dangerous player. And at times I think Chelsea looked a little bit on the ropes when we started to play. Ian, I'll come to you first. The first half, you can go through, I suppose, give me an overall of it and a couple of instances that you would have noticed. But do you think it was fair going in 1-0 down at half time? Do you think we had enough of the game in the first half to warrant being behind?
No, I thought we were at least as good as them, if not better. But first things first, I thought their goal was tremendous. I love that type of football. If you watch Napoli last season, that's how they played in the midfield. It's like tiki-taka, but on speed. Do you know what I mean? Like bing through. Kovacic is a brilliant player. Do you know what I mean? So I was really impressed by their goal. I've seen a couple of people say Alisson should have saved it. I don't think so. I thought it was a brilliant goal. Do you know what I mean? He got a finger to it. Maybe on another day he might save it, but it's certainly not an error. But it was just two high-quality sides, full of technically gifted players who were working the balls off, who all seemed to have bought into their coaches' philosophies. Do you know what I mean? Really impressive to watch. Like Marty said there earlier, it's good to see two sides back themselves and try and go for it. You know what I mean? There's not many sides that will go to Stamford Bridge this season and think, right, we're better than you, we're going to win. Maybe us and City. I'd say that is probably it. I don't think anyone else would go there and open up. But I thought it was a really good game, mate. Our front three, they're not in form at the moment. They might be getting the odd goal here, there, or everywhere. But I'd say compared to last season, if last season was an A, I think at the moment they're at a C. You know what I mean? I disagree. I thought Salah was really poor yesterday. He's still got the world class ability. He's still got the touch and the movements and all that. But he's just don't know if he's trying too hard or I just don't. Like you just said there, it's just not clicking at the moment. I thought Bobby was poor, and I thought Mane is holding onto the ball for maybe 2 or 3 seconds longer than he should be on multiple occasions. You know what I mean? But having said that, they're still a massive threat, all three of them. And at some point, they are all going to click, and they'll probably do it at the same time, and they'll put 6 or 7 past someone. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no worry about them or anything like that. I just don't think. I think for us to be as successful as we need to be, they need to be playing better. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, we're doing really well, but it's more because we've been solid and we've been grinding it out. But yeah, I thought it was a really good game. I mean, first and second half, 2 really good sides, and I think, like I said earlier, I think that's Chelsea as good as they can get, whereas Liverpool can go up at least 1 more gear, and I think that's the most positive thing for me. Okay,
Grace, I'm going to let you answer the same question. An overall view of the first half, the chances we had, the players that stood out, the goal itself. you know, as Ian said, people have said, oh, Alisson's a bit poor on it. You could probably make an argument for both goalkeepers being a little bit poor on both goals, probably footwork more than anything else, but that's only from people who've spoken to that have played in goal, you know. As far as I'm concerned, it is a really, really good goal from Hazard, and I suppose later on we get on to Sturridge because I want to have a nice big chat about him. But Grizz, I'll put this to you. Give me, I suppose, your overall view of the first half, but do you think that the problem with this front three is that we're playing, in my opinion, we're playing a slightly different style of football to what we played last season? We seem to be a little bit, not so much a million miles an hour, but we seem to be a lot more patient and trying to be a lot more clinical. Could that be affecting the front three?
It could be. I mean, look, first and foremost, the game-wise, that first half, like Ian said, I thought it was high quality. I really think that was high quality stuff out there. You got to remember, I'm going to admit Chelsea surprised me. When I saw them first game against Arsenal, I thought, and I tweeted at the time, I said, I can't wait to play this Sarri ball on the halfway line with Luiz and Rudiger. You're having a fucking laugh, aren't you? We're going to murder these. But in a very short space of time, that coach has implemented his style and system, and it's doing very well for them. And I think Klopp gave them. I think Klopp, by choosing that midfield, gave them that respect as well that they probably deserve. And yet we still, in my opinion, dominated them overall. And that says a lot for how far we've come as a team as well. And you've got to remember, I'm giving the praise to Chelsea in terms of, I mean, Kovacic for me was probably their best. I know Eden Hazard scored a brilliant goal, but Kovacic, how do you say his name, Ian?
Kovacic.
Kovacic or Kovacic.
Yeah. So however you say his name, I thought he ran the show. I honestly did, especially in that first 45 minutes. He was lovely. The goal they scored. Look, sometimes we've got this habit, and it's sort of, I think it's since the advent of social media, everyone's got this self-importance and this analysing. We think we know, we like to overanalyze things, but that was just a brilliant textbook goal. Sometimes you've got to give the opposition credit. If we scored a goal like that, we'd be fucking talking about it for weeks, and we would never given a shit about the opposition could have done this or that. It was just a brilliant goal. Alisson, in terms of saving it, it's not an error. It doesn't count as an error. But I think he could have got a touch to it. I actually think it takes a bobble over his hand as it goes down. It took a few bobbles, that ball. Look, I understand what you're saying about the front three, Gav, in terms of are we playing a bit different, more conservative style. I'd call it more controlled. I think that was the plan, always going to be the plan, to try to control more games. We talked about his heavy metal, frenetic football that we played last season. I think Klopp's sort of trying to or has implemented, and I think Virgil and Gomez have helped immensely with that in terms of their quality on the ball. We play a far more controlled game now. And yes, maybe we don't get the ball as quickly as we did last season to the front men. So maybe that's hindering them slightly because they're always looking to sort of spin over, aren't they? So, yeah, I mean, Salah, Bobby, they haven't clicked yet. We've got, how many points? 19 points? Is it 19 from a possible 21 points?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's frightening. I mean, as Ian says, you are?
We're crap.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's frightening to think that, and we this is the 7th week in a row where we've said we're still not clicking. I don't mind fucking saying this to the end of the season, honestly. If we carry on playing like this and we're still not clicking, and we're fucking on this points ratio to the end of the season, we're on a winner, mate. So yeah, I think everything's positive at the moment. Discount the League Cup thingy bob, Caramel Cup or whatever it's called in the midweek. It's all about the league, and that performance yesterday told me a lot. We would not have got a point in seasons gone by there.
Yeah, I think you have a fair point. I don't think we would. Marty, if you're still there, because I asked for an overview and he's given me the history of Chelsea. But how did you feel? I suppose, how did you feel coming in at half-time, 1-0 down? you know, did you feel it's just a great goal? It's a very even game. We probably have the better of the chances, probably in the first half, but it's just a brilliant goal, 1-0 down. You know, gather ourselves and go for a second half. Or did you think, well, we could have done better with that goal? We should, you know, how were you feeling? What were your emotions at half time, I suppose?
No, you know, they deserve to go in 1-0 purely for the fact that they took their chance and we didn't. You can't cry about it. You know, they had one good chance, put the ball in the net. We had 2-3, we didn't. So yeah, in that respect, they deserved their lead at half time. Balance of play, I thought we were better. I thought we were a lot better than Chelsea, but you know, you've got a possession in stats. I mean, nothing. You've got to put the ball in the net at the end of the day. So yeah, I felt quite hard done by, but I thought, you know, quite positive. I didn't think we'd keep wasting those chances till full time. Granted, we did our very best to do that. It just took a Sturridge worldie to get it, but there we go. But I think, you know, sometimes as football fans, not just as Liverpool fans, as football fans, you kind of tend to ignore the brilliance of another team and try and find a fault with your own team. And let's be honest, that Chelsea goal was brilliant. It was brilliant. A couple of little 1-2s in midfield, one pass through to Hazard. It's in the back of the net. And like the boys have said, you know, people looking at Alisson, I think Hazard's goal was brilliant for a different reason to, say, Sturridge's, where it was just 30 yards out. The reason that Hazard's goal was so good was because he took it where nobody expected it. You know, Gomez got back on the cover. Alisson was getting to his front post, and you saw Hazard take the shot when Alisson was misbalanced on his right foot, which is why it was more difficult for him to get down. So I think it's very harsh to blame Alisson. I wouldn't have expected Hazard to take it there. Gomez didn't. Most attackers would stand the defender up, try and take him on again, or look for another player coming in.
That's
so
what
I think
usually does, doesn't he? That's what he usually does.
Yeah,
he's in there, and I think Gomez slowly slows down right at the end, doesn't he? Because he catches up to him. Then he's like, okay, I'm okay here. You're on your left side. You know, I'm expecting you to do that.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Michael Owen in the 2001 FA Cup final, where he's out to the left and he hits it, and it's like if he hits it anywhere else, he's not scoring. He puts it in that corner. You know, like there's a comment in here saying great save from Kepa on the Mane effort that goes in 9 out of 10 times. That's what I'm talking about. We had got an awful lot of the game. Did he clear it off the line at one stage? Rudiger.
From Bobby, yeah.
Was it Rudiger? I don't know why I have Rudiger in my head. But
the second half.
He had cleared 2 off the man, didn't he? Luis and Rudiger.
Yeah, Rudiger is the one I was thinking of. But look, it's half time. It's 1-0. I wasn't down B. I thought, well, we're in this game. It's a good goal that has us 1 down. We're probably a little bit wasteful, but again, going back to what we've discussed already, you know, it's one of these things where, like one of the lads on Periscope says there, if he takes his chance, you know, or if we're that, it's probably 1% more on it. We're probably going in their level of not ahead, you know, and that's the way I was looking at it. If we can improve that little bit in the second half, we can definitely do something. But look, we get to the second half, we go into it.
Just before we get into that second half,
do
you know that Salah chance that you're referring to, that you said you got Rudiger on your mind, the one he cleared off the line. I thought that Salah chance and sort of how he took it or how he didn't take it, as the case may be, was indicative of Salah at the moment. You know, do you remember the goals he scored last season where he slowed everything down? It seemed like he slowed everything down to his pace. Well, this one was where he went around the keeper, and the Salah of last year would have sort of assessed the situation far quicker and maybe not have taken it on his right. Because if he just held onto the ball, tucked it onto his left, he'd have had an easy chance to slot in Bobby for an open goal or score himself. He's kind of rushing it, I feel. And I think, you know, I think Klopp alluded to it afterwards, where he's telling him to sort of just play your game. You're rushing too much. You're overthinking too much. Shall I pass? Shall I not pass? Do what you think is best in that situation. I think that chance, you know, so many times last season, a lot of the goals were sort of like, how did he just be so calm in the box? This was the opposite. He was quite frenetic and sort of panicky. So, you know, that kind of chance he gobbled up last season. It will come. I mean, I don't think he was poor. Ian says he was poor. I think he was still our biggest threat. I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. You know, he was still our biggest threat. So I think it will come. I just think it's a patience game with him. We just got to keep staying solid, and the front three will click.
Yeah, the solid thing is like Ian mentioned it again earlier. The solid thing is a major plus for me because, like, I'm sure we all agree, if 12 months, 18 months ago, we go into that game, and if our front three aren't working, we lose that game 2-0. And we look like we're a bit blunt, and, we give away, I suppose we give away a goal we gave away on Wednesday night against Chelsea, where it's just one of those where you think, it's a fucking Liverpool goal, that, isn't it? It's a proper Liverpool goal to concede. But look, we get into the second half. Marty, I'm going to let you start in the second half. Again, it's a. I don't think it's as high a tempo in the second half, but there's a big decision made on 65-ish minutes, and it's Salah off with Shaqiri on. Marty, was that one that you could see coming? Klopp has said afterwards that it was a tactical thing, but was it one that you seen coming? Was it one that surprised you? Was it one you agreed with, I suppose?
I agreed with it. I don't think... It's a difficult one when you've got a player like Mo Salah, because he can be poor for 89 minutes, but he can produce that 1 minute of magic and he will score. But he was poor. I agree with Ian. I think he was poor. I think as the game got on, he kind of flitted out of the game a bit more. His touches, he was trying to beat defenders and he wasn't doing it. He's tracking back, lolled quite a bit. He looked mentally and physically exhausted, and I think we got to a bit where we hit a bit of a wall. We weren't getting in behind on that flank, and we were at the beginning. First half, we were getting in down that side with Marcus Alonso time and time again. And second half, it didn't quite look right. I think Trent as well wasn't committing as far down the channel as he was in the first half. So I agree. I don't think you can keep a player on just because of the name. He didn't have a good game. We had a lad on the bench in Shaqiri that's only just come. He's hungry. He wants to score goals, make an impression. All right, he probably missed the biggest chance of the game when he came on, but we've got that quality and depth for these moments. Because there are going to be times where Bobby or Mane or Salah don't have a good game, and it needs to change. And there was no point in changing the midfield, because the midfield were doing the job. They were winning the ball back. They were turning the transition into attack. And our biggest problem to that point was we weren't sticking the ball in the net. It was one of the only changes that could happen. I think Mane could have come off. I thought Mane was quite poor too. But overall, second half, I thought we were absolutely brilliant. I thought from front to back, Alisson was an absolute monster. Van Dijk and Gomez were brilliant, and I just loved that we stayed patient. We didn't change our game, and we got the minimum we deserved in the 89th minute from Sturridge. I thought we were brilliant.
Ian, the changes, because I want to touch on, instead of Vincent, I want to touch on a kind of Sturridge and probably the centre-half pairing as the closer to the end. But the changes, you have Shaqiri on for Salah on 66. Sorry, my brain's gone completely fucking blank. Sorry, Keita for Henderson. And the last one was Sturridge for... Someone remind me, because I'm gone completely blank. But does that... I said it after the game. Them sort of changes is where you see the improvement in the squad. Having them players to bring on, change a game, put extra pressure. Instead of just bringing on a pair of fresh legs, we're bringing on somebody that can make a difference, whether it's midfield or attacking wise. When you seeing these changes coming in, you're thinking, yeah, this isn't weakening us. This is making us stronger, and this is probably getting us back in the game.
Well, yeah, because could you imagine us taking Salah off last season, even if it wasn't working? You wouldn't. At no point would you have sat there and thought Salah needs to come off here. And I did think, I'm with Marty, I did think he was poor, and I did think about 5 minutes previous to that, he should bring Shaqiri on here. What's the point in signing him if he's not going to replace a player who's not at the races that day? There's no point in having him. So I look at it as a positive that Salah wasn't playing too well by his standard, and we've got a player on the bench there who can come on. Should have scored. He'll get an assist for Sturridge's goal, which is ridiculous, but Pogba got about 28 of them last year. So I look at it as a positive, mate. We brought 3 players on there, and all 3 of them are potential game changers. Whereas in the past, we were bringing on just, you know what I mean? Did we ever used to think?
Solanke, Lallana, Ings, yeah.
When we were making substitutions in the past, did we ever think, he's going to turn the game on its head, or he's going to do this, he's going to do that? No, but we effectively brought on £150 million worth of talent yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And that is a massive, massive indication of how much our squad's improved. So I was fine with Shaqiri coming on. I thought Sturridge maybe could have come on a bit sooner, but what the fuck do I know? Do you know what I mean? And Keita, like I say, he offers more going the other way, and we were getting to the stage of the game where we needed to take more chances. That's why we were a bit more open when he come on. But I was fine with all the changes, mate. As a matter of fact, I welcomed the changes. He gets some people give Klopp a bit of stick for his substitutions, but a bit like what I've just said there, he probably looks at the bench, or he's looked at the bench in the past and thought, what's the point? Why bring Solanke on when Firmino's having a stinker? When his stinker is still better than Solanke's best. So he's now in an option. He's now in a position where he can change players with people who he actually think can affect the game. So it's really positive.
Yeah. Same thing as well. Sorry to butt in.
Yeah.
But feel free, mate. Feel free.
The thing is with Salah, we talk about Salah.
Anytime.
Fuck off. You ask if it's if it's the right substitution. We scored. He came off. We scored. So it is. You can't argue with it. That had the impact that he intended. He brought 3 players on. The 3 players changed the game, and we got a result that we weren't getting when Salah and the rest were on the pitch. And for me, that kind of consolidates the point that he should have.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was all 3, wasn't it? Because just before Shaqiri gets that dodgy assist, it was Keita's run, sort of before, where he beats a couple of players, doesn't he? And the ball falls to Shaqiri or something. So all 3 were directly involved in the equaliser, which is amazing. Amazing.
Oh yeah, it's tremendous. Grizz, before I come to Grizz, Marty's touched on something, or sorry, Ian probably, saying that Klopp is, I suppose, giving a bit of a hard time about substitutions. At the end of the day, he makes a change just after the hour and brings possibly his best player off for the sake of the team. So, you kind of have to trust him. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And look, the player he brings on with 4 or 5 minutes to go ends up saving it for you. Let's get on.
Can I say something there, Gavin?
Yeah, of course you can.
The other day, we watched us against PSG, and their front 3 weren't firing PSG's at the time. And that Tuchel wouldn't have dreamt at any point of bringing Neymar off. At any point, he didn't care, because it's about his reputation. And back in the day, when Ronaldinho was still the main man at Barcelona, they used to bring Messi off all the time. No matter how shit Ronaldinho was playing, it was a reputation thing. Klopp's just proven there, right? He's definitely our best player last season. He's not performing. I'm going to bring him off. Do you know what I mean? It's simple.
Yeah, I think he's seeing something in the game where Chelsea were dropping and Salah wasn't getting in behind, and they were tightening up, and he probably thought, well, this is what I thought. I thought if he's bringing on Shaqiri, he's looking for him to get into these, little holes in between midfield and defence, probably coming off the wing a little bit more, getting involved, trying to be a little more intricate in things. And as well as that, Shaqiri has he's liable to bang one in from 30 yards, but as well as that, he has an eye for a pass, probably more than Salah does. I think Salah is very clinical on the break when it's do it quick, do it fast, and, put it in the right area. Whereas when there's a little bit of traffic in there, I think Shaqiri can be very, very good at things like that.
He's a lot more creative than Salah. A lot more creative, I think.
He would be. I think he's more creative in this low block thing that people speak about. But it kind of made sense to me, and that's just the way it goes. Like, it's a team. It's not a one man team. It's not an individual. It's a team. And if we have to do this for the sake of the team, and it worked yesterday, so Klopp deserves praise there as much as he probably, I don't know, rightfully or wrongly, deserves, some sort of, he gets a little bit of a hard time at, about probably making them too late. But look, that's just the way it goes. Grizz, I'm going to give you 4 shout on Daniel Sturridge and the goal. Now, before we go on to this conversation, I got a message from a friend of mine. And that friend, well, when I say friend, I use that term very fucking loosely. I got a message from Matt, and he said, "I want the lads fucking rinsed on the podcast tonight. I want them all to think back to when I said that Sturridge was a brilliant backup. He get us at least 10 goals. He has 4 goals in 7. They were all wrong." And I want you to tell Ian and I want you to specifically go after Ian and Grizz on this. Grizz, I'm going to stand by what I said at the start of the season. Daniel Sturridge for 15-20 minutes for me is fine. Daniel Sturridge for 15-20 minutes, 2 or 3 games in a row, or 3 games in 5, or 4 games in 8 is fine. My worry on Daniel Sturridge is if one of them forwards goes down, you can't rely on him for a full season. I stand by that. What do you make? Let's first of all, the goal itself. What a hit. And are you changing your attitude on Sturridge? And is Matt right? That's what I'm basically asking.
Okay, so let's go with the Sturridge goal first. It's an amazing strike, isn't it? It's a strike that you don't expect, because Sturridge is not really known for his shooting outside the box. But saying that, he scored a very similar goal, similar distance against City a couple of years ago. Does anyone remember? With hardly any backlift. Obviously, this one goes into the top bins. That one went right into the bottom corner.
Yeah, it's 12-13 when he joins Liverpool away to City.
That's the one. So he's got it in his locker, where it's this deceptive, hardly any backlift, but he gets kicks it like a mule. It goes in the top corner. It's an amazing goal. I can't. If anybody says that when he got the ball there, everyone said shoot, they're lying. They're chatting shit. Most people have said don't shoot from there. Don't shoot from there. You know, especially against the most expensive keeper in the world. But he made him look. He actually made it look like he lobbed him from fucking 30 yards. Do you know what I mean? It was an amazing strike, and it's something Daniel Sturridge is capable of. It's something that, you know, you'd expect. Not expect. It's the kind of impact that you expect of a brilliant striker who's not quite got it in him to play 90 minutes twice a week. You know, I'm with you, Gav. I don't give a shit what Matt says. He's not on the pod today, so he can go fuck himself. I'm totally sticking by my point about Daniel Sturridge. For me, what I said at the time, and you can rewatch the pod, I said I can't see him being a regular for where we want to be, a regular in our first 11. I said, yep, if he gets us 10 goals, then that's amazing, and I'll stick by that. I know he's got 4 already, but I'm a man of my word. I will do a pod topless if he gets 10 league, and it was 10 league goals, but he's changed it now.
Yeah, he definitely has changed it. What he's changed it now is just the 10 goals. I think he's counting the 6 in pre-season, so you're only 1 goal away now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my top coming up this week. But no,
what I can say is that pod, when you're topless, I will definitely be busy that day.
I'm going over to London to sit beside him.
I don't want to see that.
Not again.
Yeah, exactly. But look, the point is, Sturridge, I haven't changed my stance on him. I think Sturridge is amazing backup striker to have for 15-20 minutes to come on at the end to change a game like he did. I'm going to get loads of grief for this, but I'm going to give my opinion because that's what it's about. I thought his performance, I know he scored that wonderful overhead sort of side kick, whatever it was, in the League Cup. I thought overall his performance was poor. You know, he didn't help the attack. He didn't help with the pressing. For me, the play is not as fluid and as sort of cohesive when he's leading the line as opposed to Bobby. I don't think Mane and Salah have enough as the same impact when he's playing. But he's the best goal scorer, has the best stats for goal scorer at the club. And when he plays, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, he's likely to get you a goal. So that's at the end of the day, some people only look at that. I'm not sure if Klopp only looks at that because he would start far more games. If Klopp looked at stats, then Sturridge would play every single game. But I'm sure, you know, Klopp doesn't just look at stats and, oh, he's got a goal every 46 minutes he's played or something stupid this season. So, look, you've got to look at the overall picture. He's an amazing backup striker, and that's what he is. I agree with that. but I still stand by my point that we could have done with someone fitter, stronger, younger to be that backup striker.
Okay.
But Sturridge, amazing. I mean, like, you know, I was happy for him. You know, this, you know, you guys, everyone knows us guys on this Fatback 4. We're not one of these fucking full of agendas, and we can't sort of take a player doing well. Amazing. The better Sturridge plays, the better Sturridge does, the better Liverpool do, and we're all winners. So who gives a fuck about our opinions?
Yeah, that's a great line to finish with, Chris. Well, who gives a fuck about our opinions? That's why we're doing this. But see, I'm not going to admit that Matt is right. Okay, well, I don't mind. That'll just cause a row during the week, and I love them. Marty, as the one that wasn't on that pod that night, you can just speak freely about Sturridge. Ian can think up his alibi for the night that pod was on while I'm talking to you. What a goal. All right, firstly. Secondly, I'm praying. I'm genuinely praying now that we keep him on the bench and fit and ready to play 20 minutes every league game and the odd Champions League game when if it's a dead rubber or we need to rest somebody. But I'm just, the way I look at Sturridge is, don't break him, don't push him. You know the way you hear people, he can't play 3 games in a week. He plays 1 game a week. Would you agree with that?
Look, the Sturridge debate has never ever been about his quality. It's never, no one's ever doubted his quality. He is the natural goal scorer. He's the best finisher at the club. You know, he's a wonderful, wonderful player. The debate with Daniel Sturridge is, can you keep him fit? That's always been a debate, and I think there's going to have, or there's been an acceptance on both Klopp's part and Sturridge's part this season. I think. This time last season, Sturridge almost had a chip on his shoulder. He felt, you know, he should be starting. I should be starting every game. You know, I need to go and play football. And that's the right mentality to have as a top footballer. You know, you want to play games. And Klopp wanted him to press. You know, and it's not Sturridge's game. And I feel like this season there's been an acceptance from both parts that Klopp understands that Daniel Sturridge will get him a goal. 15 minutes left. He's not going to press someone. He's not going to press a centre back. He's not going to press a goalkeeper. But you give him a chance in the box and he will score. Similarly, I think you look at Daniel Sturridge. I think he's openly admitted after his, you know, that shambles of a loan deal to West Brom, where he's obviously been part of a club that got relegated. He was injured. He looked at it, and then he looked at what he had at Liverpool and thought, do you know what? If I leave Liverpool, the best I am going to get is probably a West Brom, a Huddersfield, a Cardiff. So do I want to play, you know, 90 minutes, potentially get injured there in a relegation battle, or do I want to play 15, 20 minutes a game for Liverpool, challenge for trophies, you know, be part of something special, and you know, go down in history at Liverpool? And I think he's looked at it and thought, you know what, I'd rather do that. And it just seems to, now they're in harmony with each other, it seems to be, you know, showing on the pitch. Sturridge is coming on, he looks fresher than he's looked for a long, long time. And he's doing what he does, and that is impressive. And that's where it goes back to what you guys say. You know, you can't rely on Sturridge for 90 minutes because the big part of Liverpool and the Jurgen Klopp team is that we press from the front, and that's why Firmino is so vital. So if we lose Firmino for, you know, more than a game, I would say we're going to be in a bit of trouble. But I think with Daniel Sturridge, I think 15, 20 goals. 15, 20 minutes a game, he'll get us a goal, and I think that's what we need to look at it. That's the kind of player he is, and now there's been an acceptance on that. I think he's going to be such a vital player for us this season because of what he done yesterday. And yeah, I mean, what a goal, and he meant that. Yeah, this is the special thing. A lot of players will hit and hope and it'll go to the top bin, but if you look at him before he scores, he looks.
He absolutely does, because he tries that. Yeah. He tries it in midweek and he hits the bar.
Yeah, he hit the bar. So, and he'd done it against West Brom a couple of seasons ago. Exactly the same. That little lob. It's outrageous. It's swinging away. It shouldn't go in. It's just those ones like Henderson's against Chelsea, where it bends out towards the far post. Like Chris said, he's lobbed him. It's just, and he meant every part of that. And you know, if he comes on and does that for 10 minutes, I'll keep him. He's brilliant. Yeah. But the fitness issue is a problem.
Yeah, the fitness thing. He has to be like Ian. We're talking about, you know, Keita, Fabinho, Shaqiri needing to get used to this side and get used to the way we play, and then they can come in and find their way. I think Sturridge is a bit like this as well. because he goes to, like somebody says there. I think it was Kev O'Sullivan said he had the World Cup on his radar. That's why he went to West Brom to try prove himself. It went badly wrong for him, but I think Sturridge has come back. I agree with Marty. I think his attitude looks like it's changed. Even his persona looks like it's changed. He seems to know his role in this side, and he's accepted his role in this side. And I think that's good for Klopp. I think that's good for the club. But I think mostly that's good for Daniel Sturridge. Ian, I'll ask you what Grizz has said, or I asked you what Grizz was asked. We go back to that pod where Matt is claiming that he said all sorts, he was claiming everything about Sturridge. Has the way this season started to change your outlook on Sturridge? Or do you think, yeah, he's great like that, and he has to stick at what he's at now rather than, banging on a manager's door in 2 weeks' time saying, I need to start games? Do you think he just needs to sit where he is, take the games as they come? And as Marty said, if he takes the games as they come and he keeps this rate up, playing 20 minutes or a game during the week and maybe 20 minutes at the weekend, if he keeps this rate up, the chances are he's winning silverware with Liverpool.
Going back to what Matt said, we never said he wasn't good enough. We said he's not reliable. That's the difference. He's a world-class talent when he's fit, but he's got like a Primark body. You know what I mean? He just breaks down. The team as a whole suffer when Sturridge is on. As an attacking unit, we're not the same side. Mane and Salah are not the same when Sturridge is on as opposed to Firmino. The midfield get worked harder because he doesn't press the centre-backs or the full-backs. Do you know what I mean? These are his negatives, and do you know what I mean? They're there for all to see. His positives are he's got insane ability. He's just scored a 25-yard curler lob over a very, very, very good goalkeeper. That keeper impressed me the other day.
You'd want it for 500 fucking million.
No, but I did say shoot because I'm at that stage in the game where I want anyone to shoot. I've got no patience. Do you know what I mean? Just shoot, just anyone shoot. So, but I didn't fancy him to score it. But it's the most I've celebrated a goal in a long time, honestly. A bit like when he scored the goal against Sevilla in the final. Outrageous technique with the outside of his foot. I went mental there. His ability's never been in question. It's his reliability. Do you know what I mean? And he's not capable of playing our way of football, for one, or over a prolonged period of time. You mentioned there how like Fabinho and Keita have got to get up to speed, and maybe Sturridge does as well. The main difference there is Klopp didn't buy Sturridge. He's seen what he wants in those two other players, and he's bought them, and he thinks he can mould them into what he wants. I think if you'd offered Klopp any sort of money for Sturridge in the summer, I think he'd have sold him a decent amount of money. I think he'd have went. But having said that, I think maybe he has dropped a bit of the ego. Maybe he has come a bit more self-aware of his position in the squad, his standing in the squad. He's approaching 30 now with a horrendous injury record. Who's going to give him a long-term contract at any major club? No one. So maybe get a new contract at the end of the summer of like 12 months with an option of another 12 months is probably the best he can hope for a side who's going to be playing Champions League football every season by the looks of it. I just think maybe he's lowered his own expectations. It's possible he even knows deep down himself he can't play the way Klopp wants him to play without him breaking down. I mean, but he's got too much. Like a lot of strikers, he's got a major ego, hasn't he? That he wants to be the best player, and he probably was the best player in most teams growing up and all that. But he's not the best player at Liverpool anymore. But he's always been capable of what he's just done. That like we said, that's never been the issue. So we never said that wouldn't happen. Matt said he was a 1 and 2 striker. He is, but unfortunately, he's just scored his 50th Premier League goal. But it's took him 35 years because he's never fit. That's the problem. But so yeah, Matt did say he's a 1 and 2 striker, but Matt also said Karius should be world class, and that Emre Can is trying a new deal. And
Moreno was the new Maldini.
Oh, Moreno, yeah. So Matt.
Moreno.
Well, look, in fairness.
Wrong and he gets right.
Yeah, no, in fairness, Matt has every right to kind of lauder over us because he gets so much fucking wrong. When he gets one right, he should be out. No, he has made a claim and he's stuck by it. He's nearly gone as far as when he said Emre Can was staying, because he backed that all the way. When Emre Can was signing his contract at Juventus, he was like, "Nah, still staying. Don't be worrying about it. He's only on holiday. He's only doing the tour." But look, hold on, Grace. Somebody here says that he's a Marks and Spencer's meal in an Aldi shopping bag. I think that's a great one. Daniel, and then Tiger Tracy says Daniel Sturridge comes on now. It's a change of tactics. We've seen a different approach in certain games from Jurgen Klopp. I fully agree with that, Tiger Tracy, because as I mentioned Shaqiri earlier, you know, in them games where people are sitting deep and you need to be a little bit more intricate or something just wild, I think Sturridge suits that down to the ground. So, you know, games against the bottom six in the Premier League at home, you know, games where, against bigger sides like you seen yesterday where there's 10, 15 minutes to go and you need something, you bring him on. The only thing I don't like when Sturridge comes on is when he drifts wide and deep and he tries to do too much with the ball, you know, too far away from goal. I like to see him where he was there yesterday, 20, 25 yards. And if he doesn't open a defence for a pass, he's doing something like he done there yesterday. Look, I'm going to move on from him. And I'm going to move just the last thing on the game yesterday. And that's the centre-half partnership. I thought it was impressive again yesterday. I think, for me, it's a great Chelsea goal, and I think Trent kind of gets dragged into a position he doesn't want to be in and gets exploited. People are saying Gomez could have got there quicker. For me, Chelsea didn't want to have anything to do with Van Dijk yesterday. And as well as that, I thought when they went the other way, I thought Gomez was outstanding. Marty, this centre-back pairing, just quickly on it, it's just getting better and better, isn't it? You're just, like with Sturridge, and he doesn't break, you're just hoping both of these guys stay fit as long as they can because they look the real deal.
Yeah, they're the best defensive partnership in the Premier League. I genuinely don't know who. I'm trying not to be biased, you know, maybe I want to borrow out and Vertonghen, but I just think they're the new, fresh generation of centre-back, aren't they? You know, ball playing, powerful, quick. They've got everything. And for me, the perfect thing is, you know, we kind of look at it and think, you know, Van Dijk, he's kind of our, you know, he's our colossus, isn't he, at the moment? You know, without him, you know, you look at when he had the injury scare against Chelsea, everyone went into meltdown, myself including. I think, you know, there's going to come a time when obviously Van Dijk, you know, he retires or whatever it is. And I think you look at Joe Gomez, and for me, you could put Dejan Lovren with Van Dijk, Joel Matip with Van Dijk. You could even sign someone else and put them with Van Dijk. They're already what I would call established, experienced centre-backs, and they will have their own way of playing football and their own way of defending. With Joe Gomez, his first centre-back experience for a top team has been next to Van Dijk. And I think you look at him, the way he plays, he's already emulating Van Dijk. The way he nips in and wins the ball, the way you never actually see him slide like Van Dijk, the way he heads the ball. He's starting, and he's learning from the best player he could possibly learn from. Gomez is a blank canvas at centre-back, really, isn't he? You know, he's not played centre-back for us at all. We've been right back, left back, striker, goalkeeper, anything apart from centre-back. And he's learning his trade from, you know, the best centre-back in the league at the moment, and he's already looking the part. And you think, what is he? He's early 20s, is he, Gomez? Quite still relatively young. What's he going to be like when he's Van Dijk's age? He's going to be a monster. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Like I said, modern day centre-backs, both got everything that you need. You know, aerial ability, pace, power. They can pick and pass. They can break the line. I think they're the best thing to happen to us in a long, long time. And I think you've got to put Alisson in behind as well. I think they just ooze confidence and spread confidence through that team. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what somebody said there, pace is just huge in a centre half. It's just, you know, you can be big, you can be strong, you can be good on the ball, but if you have pace, it makes a massive, massive difference to anything you're trying to do. There's one there in the second half, I'm sure you've all seen it, where there's a breakaway, I think it's Willian gets touch. And like I'm struggling to think when I've seen Van Dijk a full throttle run, you know, sprint. And yesterday was one of the first times I can remember, and my God, that guy can move across the park. But as well as that, if you watch Gomez, he probably has more space and more ground to make up, and he's right there as well. And the thing I liked about it was, okay, Van Dijk clears it, but Gomez is giving him the shove as if to say, not today. It's not fucking happening. Get away. And if Van Dijk isn't there, Gomez is probably dealing with it, and he's probably dealing with it to the point where he doesn't give a corner away. He's probably just taking the ball away from him, and he's running with it. Ian, Van Dijk, Gomez. How good is, like, we're always saying this, but how good does this look? And like Marty said, can you see Van Dijk rubbing off on Gomez as game goes on? And like he said, his first prolonged run in the team, and he looks so comfortable, and he looks like he's growing week on week on week at 21 years of age. It's a little bit scary how good he could end up.
Yeah, I said it. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the season. I said, because Lovren's out, the first 2 months of this season are going to determine whether Gomez has got a future at centre back for Liverpool. I've been beating his drum for a couple of years. Like, me and Grizz used to disagree about him. He's got everything, man. He's big, he's athletic, he's rapid, proper fast, faster than Van Dijk, comfortably, and Van Dijk's fast. His distribution's very good for a centre half. For 21 as well, that'll improve even more so. His positioning's getting better. He's alongside, you know the example I would give, right? It's when Maldini was world class, but when he started off, he was next to Franco Baresi, and he learned so much off Franco Baresi. And this is what Gomez is going to be doing with Van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? You see it in the game, the little movements where he does, like at the last second, jump in front of the defender and win it. There was a couple of times, and Van Dijk does that. And there was a couple of times in the first half where he wins the ball, and then he's starting to bring the ball out to defence a lot now as well, and he does it with real pace and purpose. I think he'll eventually start scoring goals as well, because he's a big lad, so he's going to be a threat from set pieces as well. I think he's got the perfect partner in Van Dijk. What Marty said there is spot on. All of you defenders have already got their bad habits ingrained in them. The 28, 27, 28, it's very hard to coach that type of stuff out of an established professional who's successful in his own right anyway. So deep down, probably thinking, I've done this 10 years and it's got me where I am. Whereas Gomez, come from Charlton, we played him at right back, played him at left back. He's open to anything that he's told, you know what I mean? And he's clearly improving. His positional sense was every now and again, he can switch off a little bit. Like towards the end of the game, he thinks he's got more time when he's by the byline. And I don't know if it's Willian or someone nips in and nearly takes it away from him. And then Van Dijk bails him out. That will need to happen from time to time because he is only young. But in the same instance, I've seen him bail Van Dijk out a couple of times as well. So they do complement each other really well. And it is unusual to have two ball-playing centre-halves in the same side. It's very unusual. You usually have, like, for every PK, there'll be a Puyol. You know what I mean? There'll be, like, a battler and a player. We've got two. He will be our centre-back for the next 10 years. He's absolutely brilliant.
That's a big show. But, you know, it's not a huge sample size, I suppose, but when you see someone looking, I've seen centre halves come and go where they look good for 6 games, and you think, oh, this could be a player, and there's little things in their game where you go, yeah, but is he strong? Like, look, Daniel Agger was never my favourite centre half at Liverpool. All right, I think I've been open about that. I think most people would know that, because I felt Daniel Agger as a ball playing centre half wasn't good enough in the air, and I don't think he was strong enough. I thought he was bullied by an awful lot of centre forwards that he shouldn't have been bullied against. But had a good career at Liverpool, don't get me wrong, and came in and looked quality from the start. But just in certain times, I wasn't too sure about him. Looking at Joe Gomez, I look at him and think he's coming into this team where he knows he's getting the chance because somebody was at a World Cup. Let's be perfectly honest about it. If Dejan Lovren wasn't at a World Cup, he'd be playing in these games, and we wouldn't know what Joe Gomez was like. We'd be sitting here going, oh yeah, they're doing well. He knows he's coming in, and he knows he can't take. He basically has his foot on Lovren's throat, and he can't take it off. And he knows if he takes it off for 1 second, Lovren gets back up, and he's back in the team. If anything goes wrong, and he could be written off quite quickly if he makes a big mistake or has 2 or 3 ropey games, because that's the way it is a centre half, especially after getting this big build up, you know, from the start of the season as it's gone on. Grizz, I'll give you the last word on these two. Just quickly, if these stay together, well, look, I say quickly and then you just ignore me anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to put this question to you. I'll give you a scenario. Gomez and Van Dijk stay fit for the full season. Do you think we can see the least amount of goals in the Premier League?
I tweeted that months ago.
That must have been when Matt was telling us about Sturridge. Go on.
No, I tweeted it. I go back and search my tweets, and I've said before the season, we'll concede the fewest goals this season. But go on, Chris, you can say it's your idea.
No, it's not my idea. But what I will say is I've never been as wrong about a player as I have about Joe Gomez. And I openly admit that. Ian's right. We did.
What about Fekir?
Shut up. I did disagree about Joe Gomez. But he's been outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And we were talking about we've changed the way we play this season slightly. And I said earlier as well, and I'll say it again, it's because of the ball playing abilities of our two centre halves. They're far more comfortable with the ball at their feet. They're far more comfortable with driving with the ball out their feet. So therefore, sometimes it's the onus hasn't been on our midfield to break those lines with those passes. I think Gomez has been sensational. He's been a revelation as centre back. I agree. If he stays fit, he has. Touch wood. Again, he was another one who kept having really niggling injuries, and his career's been hampered with injured every few months. But touch wood, he's been fine, and hopefully he stays fine because the guy's confidence is growing and it's oozing. You can see it, and he is fucking rapid, as you guys said. Van Dijk's quick, and I knew Van Dijk's quick when Southampton played Liverpool and Mane was. He's
faster than you to a buffet, I'd say.
Hey, no, he's not.
No, he's not. No, stupid guy.
Calm down. But listen,
Joe, the brown flash.
Joe Gomez. Ian said gave it the Maldini comparison. I know he's not comparing the players, but in terms of comparison to a recent world star centre back who everyone in the world raves about was Varane, and I honestly think Joe Gomez is on that level and can be on the level and will get better. He can only get better, and it's amazing that we've got him for how much did we get Joe Gomez for? 3 million or something?
3.5 million, wasn't it?
Something like that, wasn't it? And it's ridiculous. We've got Trent, who's without doubt a shining light as a right back, coming from the academy. We've got Robbo. Straight swap was Kevin Stewart, was it, or something like that?
Is he going to the whole team? Yeah.
And then we've got Joe Gomez, peanuts. It's amazing that 3 out of our back 5 are near enough making up for the so-called inflated fees for Alisson and Van Dijk. But yeah, this back 5 stays together. It can only benefit us long term.
Okay. Just quickly, lads, I want to ask you. I watched the United game early yesterday against West Ham, and Mourinho, for me, he looks like a man who's picking teams and making substitutions on spite. I think he's doing it as all part of a big plan, and I don't know what he's at. But then I watched Liverpool and Chelsea, and I think it might have been Grizz that said it to me after the game, and a few people, I suppose. I've seen her on Twitter. But we know, we all love Klopp and the charisma and the way he is, but Sarri looks a nice bloke, doesn't he? And I love the way he can't smoke, so he's absolutely horsing fucking Nicorette chewing gum into himself on the sideline. He's just fucking bags of it. He's just a Tesco bag of fucking chewing gum on the sideline. He's just shoveling them into his mouth. But just quickly on him, I suppose just one or two words from each. Marty, I'll go first. Sarri, nice bloke. Touch of class about him.
Yeah, he seems like a nice bloke. It was so nice yesterday. You saw Klopp and Sarri, big smiles on their face, hug. Before the game, in the press conferences, they were both, so complimentary about each other, and you wondered, is it a bit of, gamesmanship? Were they trying to, blow some bowl smoke up each other's asses and, play some mind games? But I genuinely do think it's two the best managers in world football that played the best type of football there is, and it comes to the end of the game and they both just said, yeah, you know, what a great game, what a great team. I think Sarri will be, you know, I mean, you never know what Chelsea do at the end of the day. If you have one bad season, he could be gone. But I think, you know, Sarri, Klopp, Pep, you know, I think those three could be, you know, the managers to dominate the next few years in the Prem. And that's how it should be, really. Proper football, total football, attacking football. And I think, yeah, it was nice to see two managers, you know, kind of appreciate, you know, the type of teams they've got and the football they play. So, and yeah, he seems like a really nice bloke. He sucks on fag butts as well, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's fucking. He's like he's more addicted to cigarettes than I am, and that's saying something. Ian seems a nice bloke. Seems complimentary about Liverpool. All his comments and his quotes and stuff like that. Just seems a nice down to earth bloke, and it's like managing is kind of secondary to him. He wants to go off for a smoke, you know. He's just like, come on, we get this out of the way, and we all go for a smoke and a drink. Seems a nice bloke though, Ian. It's refreshing, I suppose, when you look around the league at some of the managers.
Yeah, well, he's a character, isn't he? Too many of them are just like, it's almost like they're reading from a script, and they don't want to say anything. And I like his ascent to the top as well. He got into coaching quite late, didn't he? And he was coaching in like the 7th tier of Italy, only like 7 or 8 years ago, or something like that. You know, so I am a fan. I'm a fan of his football. I think PSG should have broke the bank to get him, as opposed to that dog shit German they've got at the moment. Because if you give him unlimited funds in a league like that, I think the football they play would just be staggering. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a fan. I was a fan of him last year at Napoli. Listen, it's Chelsea, so you just never know. And I'd be a bit wary to get carried away. I've seen a couple of tweets saying he's changed their style in 3 months and it's took Klopp 4 years. They haven't lost the game yet. Let's wait till they lose a game and see how they react, or let's wait till they have a couple of bad results back to back. Do you know what I mean? So I won't go mad overboard, but I am a fan of him. As for him being a nice man, I don't know. Me, for all I know, he's got like dead puppies.
Yeah, don't. I knew you were going to do this. On the face of it, he's a nice man. We leave it at that for you. Grizz.
What was Al Shipman?
Fuck's sake. Grizz, sorry, what do you make of him? Do you like him? He comes across as someone to me that you'd have a lot of respect for very quickly if you watch his demeanour and the way he goes on and the way he speaks about other people. He seems to have a lot of respect for other people around him.
Well, the thing is, as I said earlier, it's the difference that he's made to them, in my eyes, from that first game what we saw against Arsenal, where they looked so flimsy and open, and yes, they were playing pretty triangles, to the game the other day where they actually looked a very tactically cohesive unit. And the biggest compliment I can pay him is this is probably the least I've hated a Chelsea team since the Premiership has started. Honestly, I can't, because you got to remember I'm from London, so the Chelsea, you know, the London, the rivalry is mental all through the Jose era. You know, even when Ancelotti was there, you know, I hated that Chelsea team. I hated Chelsea. Absolutely fucking rent boys, a lot of them. But this one, I tell you what, this character, he's got them playing good football. I can't think of anyone I hate in that team, really, to be honest with you. And he's a bright addition to the Premier League, isn't he? He's more in the Pep, Klopp, Marco Silva, sort of that. Oh, I said Marco Silva with a sort of, you know, touch of sarcasm maybe, but you know, he likes to play the game. He likes to play the game the right way, as opposed to your Jose's and even your Pochettinos to a certain extent that are sort of more pragmatic, you know. So he's a good addition to have.
Okay.
I don't know how long he's going to survive though if he carries on fucking smoking the way he is. I don't know if he reaches.
He's off the smokes. He's just on chewing gum. He's fucking.
That's the only worry. Fucking hell, my guy.
Right.
He's only 23.
Yeah. He's only out of skill. Lads, right. I just want an answer, obviously, because we're gone well over the time already. So, man of the match. Just give me the name of the player. Marty, you're man of the match. Alisson. Okay, and Ian, you're man of the match.
Alisson.
Oh, two for two. Grizz, you're man of the match.
been Allison, but because of that, I think you could have saved that. I'm going to go with Ginny.
One word.
Yeah.
Ginny.
That is one word from Grizz. About 27, 28 words means one for Grizz. That's the ratio he's on. Lads, last topic. Ian sent us this earlier, and he wants to know what your serial killer name would be and how you would dispose of the bodies as you're killing them. Really quickly again, let me go. Ian, I'll go to you for sure. You know, you made this up, so let's go. Ian.
I've got a few names, but I don't want to give some of them away in case they ever go that way.
Yeah.
So I think my serial killer name at the moment would be the Twitter Twatter.
Okay.
And I would just go around stalking individual accounts that need knocking off.
And
I would just murder them gruesomely and then bury them in other dickhead accounts, gardens, and try and wipe them all out at the same time.
Okay. It really sounds like... I don't know whether you've thought about this or this plan is in action and it's just at a certain stage.
I would 100%, if I knew I'd get away with it, 100% go on a massive killing spree.
Oh, yeah. I know you would. That doesn't surprise me one bit. Marty, serial killer name, how would you dispose of the bodies? You can be as short as you want about this.
I'll call myself Grizz and I'd eat them.
You win. Next.
That's a classic. Oh, yeah. Marty's winning. Marty's winning on points. Grizz, you're last up. Serial killer name, how would you kill them?
Simply just add the to my title, the Grizz. Fuck, you can't get more serial killer name than that.
Yeah.
The Grizzler.
Kill them by carving fakir in their body.
I would never think about it. I'm the nicest man after Matt on Twitter. I would never think about being a serial murderer. That's Ian's category. But if I was to murder people and kill them, it's got to be. I was watching Breaking Bad. I've just started watching Breaking Bad, and you know the way they dilute the bodies with the acid.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, best way to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure I do it on the bottom floor, not on the top floor.
All right. Okay. Right. That's the Fatback 4. What?
What about you?
I don't have one. I'm trying to hit too many fucking buttons here. I'll post it on Twitter during the week. That's been the Fatback 4. That's been Marty. That's been Ian. That's been Grizz. I tried to do some intro music at the start. If you heard it, it was from a band called Le Boom, and the track is called Coma. They've helped us. They've helped us out.
What's the name? Laboon.
Le Boom, yeah, LE Boom. They've helped us out by giving us a couple of tracks for the rest of the season to use on shows and stuff like that. They're really good. You'll get them on Spotify. We're going to use them. We're going to use, I think we can use some remixes from their tracks as well. So keep an eye out for them. Look them up on Spotify. They're really good. And thanks again to them for helping us out. But yeah, that's been us. We'll all be back next week, post Man City. You will have the Tuesday Club on Wednesday this week because Napoli away is Wednesday. We'll have the Final Whistle show is back next week. There's been a couple of weeks off of that, but that is back next, after the Man City game, which, when do we play Man City next? Sunday. So they should be back next Sunday, and we'll probably be back on straight after us. We'll probably roll in. We'll let you know during the week what way we're going to walk it. But that's been us. That's been the Fatback 4. Thanks a million for joining us. Thanks a million for viewing, sharing, all that sort of stuff. Matt will be back next week with his Daniel Sturridge signed jersey. And yeah, we'll see you then. Have a good one. Over and out.